Awesome. Okay. So what I wanted to do, and the reason why this is up here behind me, I went through yesterday, I went through the chat transcript, which was really nice to be able to have that all written down so that I could kind of keep track of what everybody's thinking about doing for this kind of like wrap up chapter 1, unit 1, whatever you want to call it, final project, where you get to kind of find your own data, collect it, or just go look for it. That's okay too. If you do decide to actually collect, like do your own survey or take your data about something you observe yourself, I'll give you some extra credit for that. But if you end up going out and just finding your data yourself, that's cool too. There's plenty of work that goes into that research. Some of it's easier than others for sure. What I did last night, probably way too late, but is I went through that chat transcript and I went through who shared their copy of this with me and tried to figure out where we were at. And so you'll see that a grade went into the assessment category for the first time, which because it was the only grade that's sitting in there, it probably had a pretty drastic effect on your grade, potentially one way or the other. And so what I want to do today is just make sure that before we do anything else, that all of this stuff is ready to go. Now, the thing that I want to preface this with is that you are not stuck with whatever choice you made yesterday, or if you haven't made a choice, with whatever choice you make first, okay? If your topic or question that you kind of under pressure, like just kind of picked out of a hat, if that's not something that's really all that interesting to you, or if you feel like maybe you can't find the data that you would really like, then switch it up. But just let me know. Just let me know that you're going to change it, and I'm okay with that. But what I want to make sure is that everybody has created this for themselves, okay? And so if you were kind of keeping up with me yesterday on yesterday's announcement, the link at the bottom of yesterday's announcement, so Monday the 1st, it said click here to begin. It would take you to this and it would ask you to make a copy, okay? If you have not done that, do that now, okay? Go to yesterday's announcement. Click on the link at the bottom. It's going to ask you to make a copy, and then you just change the title so it has your name. It's going to say copy of your name, Unit 1 Final Project Template. Change the copy of your name to actually be your name. It just makes it really easy for me to find when I go searching for it later, okay? And the other thing, once you do that, or if you've already done that but you haven't done this part, please share it with me, okay? Because there are a lot of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people that kind of made their choice in the chat yesterday, but never shared this with me. And so you're sitting there with like a 3 out of 5, and that potentially could be dragging you down. So having 100 assessment average is really going to kind of pull you up out of maybe some missing assignments if you've got some. So do that now, okay? And I'm going to give you a minute to do that. And if you've already done it, cool. Then you just hang out for a second while everybody else gets caught up. If you saw 5 out of 5 go in, then I know what your topic is, and you've shared it with me, which is great.
I don't see it in the email that you sent, Mr. Rosie.
Go to yesterday's announcement on Canvas. So go to Canvas, click on announcements, go back to Monday, and right at the bottom there, it should have a link that says, like, click here to begin. And once you click that, it should ask you to make a copy of this. You just say, yep, make a copy. This way it gets dropped right into your drive and you become the owner of it instead of me. That way it makes it easy for me to find. And then just change the title of the spreadsheet just by kind of clicking into that space and just put your name. Okay. And the big key here is making sure that it gets shared with me so I can help kind of track your progress as we go. because unless I hear otherwise from you, all of the kind of sectioning out, the scaffolding that I'm going to do to help you like not do this all at once, but do it in pieces. Like I want to spend class time doing it. I want to make sure that we've got some dedicated time while we're here to knock this out. Rather than sending you off on your own, I know that that can be harder with kind of trying to balance that timing and schedule. So make a copy, share it with me. I already saw like Chris did it. Nice. Patrick did it. Thank you. You guys are awesome. The other thing is that if you did not drop your idea in the chat, then I don't know what your topic is just yet. And so that would be, according to my list, people that still need to figure out exactly what they're going to do. That would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Abby, Emily, Jason, Maddie, Dane, Julissa, Gian, Patrick, and Traven. I don't know what you want to do your research on, okay? And so let me kind of give you the same spiel that I did yesterday. The idea here is you want to study something, you want to research something that you actually care about, okay? Not random data from nothing, right? Pick something that is something that you're interested in, and maybe it's school related or maybe it's not, right? Maybe it's about what you want to be when you grow up, whenever that happens, what you like to do outside of school, like what your hobbies are, like some of the suggestions that people are going with. I'll just read them off kind of one by one because there's so many really cool things. Number of new species found, the most densely populated cities, most popular songs of 2020, wildlife deaths per year, top 30 cars driven in the US, number of oil field jobs, the top 30 worst songs of 2020, the top 30 recorded floor routines, gymnastics at DU. That should be really cool. Top 30 NBA three-point percentage leaders, most shows watched in 2020. Top 30 NBA points per game leaders. Top 30 WNBA points per game leaders. Celebrity deaths per year. Top 30 Peyton Manning wide receiver completion percentages. Top 30 most populated cities. So there's a little similarity there between Stephen and Peter. As long as one of you does dense population density, so people per acre versus just number of people. Okay, so
can I change mine from densely populated to just mostly populated?
So you and Peter both, I think, unless I'm wrong, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think both of you kind of had similar ideas. Is that right?
I'm just doing US based.
So just US based? Okay, so Steven, you want to do worldwide then?
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. Okay, so Peter
we still have US cities, but not just US cities.
Say that again, Steve?
I said it'll have US cities, but it won't just be US cities. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. No, I'm actually interested to see how those both play out. Cool. And then Bree was top 30 rugby players championships, and then Kyla had an idea about tracking some Lionel Messi goals. So if I did not, if I listed you off as not having an idea yet, I would love for you to just kind of drop that idea in the chat. So I can keep track of it. Just makes it really easy for me so I can help you. That's the whole idea, is you're not going about this on your own. Don't feel like you are doing this by yourself. We're going to have some dedicated class time where we can do a research. I can remind you of how to input the formulas if you want to do it that way, or how to do it by hand if you want to do it that way. Because like I said here, you can use formulas or show your work. That's cool too. So maybe you end up supplementing this with some hand-drawn stuff. That's great. But if you wanted to, it could all exist right here. Your entire project could exist all in this one space. And so the kind of the thing that I would like to have happen today is, if you have not come up with a question yet, do that. Figure out what you want your topic to be, what you want your question to be, kind of one and the same. That's just unique from all of those things that I listed off. But find something that maybe you're interested in. And if you are stuck, then let's brainstorm some ideas. I'm happy to do that. But the other thing that I want to make sure you do is get this shared with me, right? Make a copy, change the name, and then click share so it comes to me. start typing my name and I'll pop up. The other thing that we can do, and this is actually everybody can do this right now, go to your Google Sheet if you've already made it and shared it with me, open it up right now and write in what your topic or question is, okay? That would be really, really helpful for us to be able to then go back on our own, and I won't have to look back at my list to know what you're doing. All I'd have to do is open up your Google Sheet, and it will give us the breakdown of what you want to do, and then I can help you find it, right? Because that's what kind of would be the next thing, is where did you find your data, right? Did you go to a website to look it up? Like maybe you're looking at baseball statistics. Okay, cool. Then I went to MLB.com and I looked up some stuff. Or, there are a lot deeper dives than you can go. I know as a baseball guy that there's a lot of way more interesting statistics on other websites. Fan graphs being one of them. Really, really interesting. So, so maybe it's a website link. Maybe you are like, I think I mentioned last time, like actually like performing an experiment and seeing how you do. Like for me, how I shoot my markers in the garbage when when one runs out, and I keep track of those on the board. Maybe do something like that, right? You set up trash ball and you just try to shoot stuff into a garbage can. You can do that right from home. And so how am I going to know that? Well, maybe you take a video of yourself taking a couple shots or something like that, and you upload it right there. Or a photo, right? Take a still shot. That's cool too. Maybe you're using a Google form to collect some data from your classmates or from your friends or from your family or whatever, right? Just right in that spot. And that doesn't have to be today, but I want to kind of build up to by the end of this week. I'd love for us to all have our data. So you want to think about potentially over these next couple of days, and hopefully we'll have some time kind of dedicated in class to do some research. It just makes it really easy for me if you have your topic or question listed there at the top, okay? And if you did not either come to class yesterday or you haven't thought of your idea yet, now's a great time to do that. Okay, so get that done. I'll give you a moment to wrap that up, and then we'll switch gears a little bit and we'll go from there. But I see some stuff is coming in, awesome, which is great. Traven, Jason, Tyson, awesome, thank you for that.
Rosengren,
Yeah.
can I do the most home runs done by a person in the MLB?
Do you want to do all-time home run leaders or like
Probably like all time.
All time? Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Top 30 home run leaders MLB. Cool. And then so what you'll do is it's just the numbers, right? It's 755, 715, 685, whatever it is. You just have to write down the numbers. I don't even need to know who they are necessarily. I just need the numbers that go with it. So that's the kind of data we're looking for, is just whatever the number is. Cool. And you've got that spot over here. Obviously, the space is probably way too big to actually write those numbers in, but I gave you 30 empty spots. You can always do more if you want. So all of your data will go here, column A, and then we'll copy it over to column B, and we'll reorder it from least to greatest. So we've got kind of the original data and the just a nice ordered version. And some of yours might actually be in that order. Some of it already might be least to greatest. But for like Jason's right there, his is probably going to be greatest to least, because that's the way they're going to list it on the website. So he's just going to kind of copy it over, and then he'll reorder that. Okay, but we'll do that another day. Okay, we don't have to get our data today. And then so I will go back here later today or tonight, and I will start kind of running through anybody that doesn't have a 5 out of 5 yet. And even those of you that do, because the 5 out of 5 was just, did you tell me what you wanted to do and did you share it with me? Almost everybody still had this row 1 was still blank. And so I just want you to make sure that you copy your idea into that spot. And if you don't even remember what you said yesterday, then let me know. I'm happy to, I wrote it all down in one space so I could kind kind of keep things in line for you guys, help you out a little bit. Cool. Anybody else need another moment to feel like they're caught up to where we need to be? Okay, cool. The only other thing I wanted to do today, because this is our Prob Stat class, was talk a little bit about the survey that you guys might have taken, but I know a lot of your classmates did. A good chunk of Ponderosa actually took that student survey. I think it was last week. I think we sent it out like Tuesday morning. Your first, your second period teacher had you take a 5-minute survey on how you were feeling remote versus hybrid. And I just wanted to share out those results. And this is not something that students know about yet. This has really just been between teachers, between admin, and like school to school, and then kind of presented to the district. So you were part of a pretty large survey that went out, written in part by myself and Ms. Sigmund. No big deal. I just wanted to show you what happened. And you can kind of look at it and get a sense for what's going on, because why not? That's what this class is all about. And so we're not going to actually do anything else. I just want to talk about the survey, and then I'll get you guys out of here via a quicker day. We actually have a shelter-in-place drill at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to get you out of here by then, because I gotta shut the lights off and hide in Cunningham's room. So here we go. Let me show you really quickly just a quick recap of what it was, right? That student learning survey was just something. So we had a meeting. We always have Friday meetings as a staff, 7:40. And the only ones that are optional, or sorry, the only ones that are mandatory are the first ones of every month. But we all just show up every Friday just to kind of talk about how things are going and figure out, like, so many things are unknown and all these changes, and what can we do to give the students some consistency, to give them the best learning experience, to not make things so frustrating or mundane or whatever it is. It's really hard for you guys to be learning this way. So we're trying to figure out ways to do it best. And some of us are doing better than others, and some of us are burning out hardcore with this kind of stuff, and some of us are really powering through. So it's been hard for everybody. So we like to try to get together to share good ideas or do whatever it is. And Ottman, like just a couple weeks ago, just kind of in passing said, hey, I wonder how the students are feeling with this. Like, what are you guys seeing? And just kind of asked for anecdotal evidence from teachers, like, oh, my student said this, or my students look like this, or this is the kind of thing that I'm getting. And it was just that. It was just anecdotes, right? It was just little moments in time from a small selection of teachers. And then Dr. Thorson, I don't know if any of you had him. He's great. He's an amazing teacher and an even better person. He chimed in and said, well, if you want to know how the students are feeling, then let's just ask them. Right? Let's get them involved in the conversation. And although their responses might not dictate what we do, because it's ultimately the board's decision, maybe the board will listen, right? Maybe the teachers can listen to what's working and what's not, and what's kind of going on behind the scenes. And so as soon as I heard, hey, let's ask them, I sent a message to Ms. Sigmund and I said, this is us. This is what we do. We didn't get around to actually developing a survey and data and decisions, but I know we wanted to, and so here's our chance. And so I reached out to Ottman and I said, hey, listen, we can do this for you. Can we get our students involved and help kind of design a survey? And unfortunately, he said, we need this turned around faster than that. Can you guys just do it and then get your students involved on the backside? Can you kind of have them look at the data and see if they're on the same page? And so Sigmund and I had to kind of develop the survey on our own. We would have loved to have you guys do it, but we were just on such a quick turnaround because the board is meeting today. We had to present the results to the high school principals last week. So we really had to, we designed it on Monday. We gave it out on Tuesday, and Ms. Sigmund and I had to kind of put together the conclusions and all that just in a couple of days. So 1,111 students responded to the survey, which is astronomical. We're looking for 30 data points at a minimum to be able to look at good data. We had almost 300 times that, which was incredible. So super, super nice to see a really good turnout. So thank you guys if you did participate for participating. We kind of broke it down into sections, right? Who are you, right? Are you full remote? Are you a full-time e-learner doing just Edgenuity only? Or are you e-learning, so you're streaming into some classes. Okay. And depending on who you are, it took you to different sections. And we had a full remote learning one where we kind of scaled it out from 1 to 4. So there was no neutral. And that was kind of Miss Nanson's thinking, actually. She said, you know what, if you have a scale from 1 to 5, then 3 is down the middle and it's kind of a neutral cop-out. Like, oh, I don't really have a feeling one way or another. This made you kind of lean to the left or lean to the right on how you were feeling about different things. Could you acquire new information? Do you feel supported? Do you feel engaged? Can you manage your time well? There were a lot of different kind of things that we tried to ask. And then we copied those exact same kind of questions to how you were feeling about that hybrid that we were in before Thanksgiving, to try to get a sense for what you felt one way versus the other. And so I don't know how well you thought this went. There was a student listening tour that Ottman kind of sat down for a couple hours and had students speak their mind about it, and 16 kids showed up, which was really cool to have them speak out. So if you were one of those, thank you for making your voice heard, because that's the only way this works, is if you speak up and you tell us what's going on. But the really cool part of this is what happened when, and big shout out to Sigmund for putting a lot of this stuff together. She put all of this data together and kind of reorganized it and did all the statistics behind the scenes. I just wanted to share that with you so you can see, like, all right, this first chapter kind of, right? It's all right, let's learn how to do this graph and let's learn how to do this graph. And there's not a whole lot of excitement there, and I totally get that. And so thank you all for doing everything that you have to just kind of keep up and put up with me being excited about something that you might not find all that exciting. The idea is, like, now we can do this. We can actually, like, study the statistics and then do something with it. If we were in more of a position of power, these kind of results could speak directly to the action that we would take. And that's the lives that you're going to live once you get to that point, right? You're going to get to a point where you can, like, make choices that affect change. And that's the whole point in life, I think, is to make things better for you, right? And so I just wanted to show you some of the bar graphs I came up with, some of the histograms. So on the left will always be full remote. On the right will always be how people felt during hybrid. And so you will generally see some trends along the way. And down at the bottom, it has the averages for what all 1,111 students said. Okay, how successful or satisfied did you feel in full remote learning, like we are right now, versus hybrid learning with the cohorts? And I will let you make your own conclusions. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. An average of 2.34 and an average of 2.78. Okay, this is how engaged do you feel during class? Do you feel like you are invested in whatever we're talking about? Full remote on the left, hybrid on the right, 2.13, 2.82. Remember, on a scale from 1 to 4, 1 being not at all, and 4 being completely, like fully engaged or fully supported, or whatever the question is. Okay. Again, remote on the left, hybrid on the right. How well did you, like, learn new stuff? Could you learn the concepts? Could you learn the vocabulary? Could you understand, like, how to apply the skills, whatever the class was? How did you do remote versus hybrid? And the scales are the same. So you can compare the size of the bar graphs as well, which is really nice. Or the histograms, I should say. Okay, how supported do you feel from your teachers? Okay, and obviously this is everybody, right? So think about where you are compared to all this if you want. 2.98 versus 3.16. How well can you manage your own time? Can you show up to classes? Can you get your work done on time? Can you also balance life outside of school with life inside of school? If you have work or you have family responsibilities or whatever the case may be, how well are you able to manage that kind of time? How well do your grades reflect your work? Do you feel like what you earned in class, grade-wise, is that a good reflection of how you did? How hard you worked, how much you studied, all that kind of stuff. And then, does the workload in class match kind of your expectations? Full remote versus hybrid. One being not at all reasonable, either like too much or too little, right? I don't know that anybody would really say, oh, I didn't have enough work to do in my classes. That's probably not something that most people would say, but it certainly can happen. And then 4 being very reasonable. I had a reasonable amount of work. It was what I expected is what I needed. Not like a little work to a lot of work. It's not reasonable to reasonable. And then there it is all combined. So there's kind of the double bar graph, the double histogram, where you can compare all of the different things. So here's overall and engagement, new information, teacher support, time management, grades, and workload. And I just want to hear from you. What do you think is happening here? What do you notice seems to be the trends across all of Ponderosa, remote being the gold and hybrid being the cardinal? Tell me just some overall feelings about what you think is happening here with what you're looking at. Because this is real, this is you.
Seems like people did better going to hybrid than full remote.
That's what it looks like, right? If you look at every comparison, the bar is higher, the histogram is higher in cardinal for hybrid than it was in remote. Absolutely, I agree. Can you tell where the biggest difference is just by looking?
Engagement.
Yeah. Students that are in this, you're over there through the screen and I'm over here through my screen, they felt it really hard to actually feel connected to whatever they were learning. And that makes a whole lot of sense to me. And I bet that rings probably pretty true for you as well. That really feeling like, yeah, I care about what I'm learning. I feel like I get it. I understand the purpose of it is a lot harder this way than it is, even if we're stuck in class with 5, 6, 8, 12 people. We felt a lot more engaged that way. What seems to be pretty close didn't matter remote versus hybrid.
Support.
Yeah, which I was really happy to see. As a teacher, I'm always worried about making sure that you guys feel like you've got some kind of connection to me, that you can be comfortable to ask questions and be vulnerable and stick yourself out there and want to ask for help, or just feel like you can get it if you needed it. And it didn't make a difference. Of course, a little bit more so in hybrid than remote, and what was even better about that is not only were those closest, literally those had the smallest difference in their averages, they were also the highest. That was the highest rated one in hybrid and the highest rated one in remote, which is awesome. So even though things aren't necessarily great, I don't feel all that great about learning remotely. I'm just not, I feel like I'm not connected well enough, all that kind of stuff. There was a lot of good things that happened there. And so we found some pretty good conclusions, and I'm going to get you out of here because we're going to shelter in place in a second. But they were statistically significant. These results mattered. And there's only a 3% chance that we could have replicated these results randomly. So you answered them in a way that is probably ringing pretty true to who you are. And a lot of those things are really nice to see, and knowing that that you feel a certain way allows us to maybe develop better teaching strategies for you. And hopefully you feel like your voice was heard, because God, that is just too important. You have to feel like your individual voice matters across life, not just school, but everywhere, right? Family and jobs and politics and relationships and all that kind of stuff. You have to know that your voice matters. So this was really nice to get those results. Students definitely feel more satisfied and successful about the old hybrid model than they do about the current remote one. Engagement was the biggest difference. Acquiring new info, also a really big difference. And then overall, a really big difference between remote versus hybrid, all in favor of the hybrid model being the one that was the best. And then we kind of broke it down even smaller than that. And we looked at comparing, okay, if you said a 4 about hybrid versus a 1 about hybrid, then how did you feel about everything else? and not just looking at everybody all at once,
Good
but just
morning,
those
Mustang.
specific
We will
people.
be conducting a shelter-in-place drill at this time.
I'm out because I
Will you
can't
please
keep
check
going.
your SRP
So I will leave you with
materials
this,
and make sure
okay?
that the
Thank
students
you.
that are with you
It was
understand
really, really,
where
really
to
nice
be for the
being
drill.
able to
I will get
actually
back on
hear
and
from
let
you
know when the
guys
drill's
and
over. Thank you.
how things have been going for you, okay? But this was everybody, okay? You are just one of these data points. And so if there's something that you need us to be doing differently, just let us know, okay? So I'm gonna let you go. Nothing you need to submit for today. I will catch you tomorrow. We're a little bit earlier, I think, because of the homeroom schedule, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna shelter in place on the floor. See ya.
Alrighty, peace out.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye, Rosie.
Later.